Coming up, we're coming to CSUN.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Sean Priest.
Oh, Sean, get your bags packed. Have you even bothered packing a bag yet?
Not yet. Not yet. It only takes 2 minutes. It'll all be fine. And why did that sound like a threat, Stephen Scott?
No, it does when I
coming
speak.
to
We're
CSUN.
coming to CSUN. Yeah, I cannot wait. The CSUN 2025 Assistive Technology Conference gets underway. Right now, actually, registrations are happening. We are going to be leaving straight after the show today and heading to Los Angeles, where we'll be bringing you all the coverage from what is becoming, and I would say is, the world's biggest assistive technology conference. It's an amazing event. There's going to be so much to talk about, and we are going to be doing it all thanks to our friends, and that's who we're talking to today on the show. We're joined a bit later by Amos Miller from Glidance, and right now we're joined by Mike Buckley from Be My Eyes to talk about what they are looking forward to, and also to talk a little bit about helping us to get there. Mike Buckley, welcome back to Double Tap.
Thank you, guys. Always fun to be with you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We're literally heading to the airport after this to head out to Los Angeles and get ourselves ready for what is going to be an amazing event. I mean, I know Sean has packed nothing, by the way, so expect, I know that...
It's all fine.
We're going to talk about the support that Be My Eyes is offering. I don't know if underwear is part of that deal. It may need to be.
Are you guys going to CSUN, or are you going on an extended bender of some sort? What did I just walk into here?
It's all the same.
I'm hoping you'll have some boxer shorts on the Be My Eyes merch stall, so it'll be fine.
That's what it is, yeah. That's not a bad idea.
I bet they would sell.
Be my pants. That's what we want. Be my pants. There we go. Listen, you're already there, Mike. We're going to be seeing you in probably a matter of hours, but, tell us about what you're expecting to showcase, what you're looking forward to yourself at CSUN, because I know you're a CSUN veteran.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's always fun to be there because you have just a large swath of the accessibility community, in particular, a lot of the large enterprises, combined with a bunch of interesting creative startups as well. And so it's just, the gang's all there, right? And so I'll be looking for, what we hear new from on wearables, what we hear new on kind of AI deployments. I think Amazon is one of the lead sponsors this year, so I expect a lot of sessions from Amazon and things for them. And of course, they've made some news about Alexa just recently as well. And as you would expect, we will have a number of announcements ourselves, some on the corporate and business side, some on the customer side. So we'll have a bunch of fun things to talk about.
So how important is CSUN to you? I mean, it is such an interesting answer that you gave there, because it almost sounds like anyone visiting, you're excited about the other companies there as well as any of us. But also, obviously, you have the Be My Eyes angle. How important is CSUN to you?
I mean, I think, let me say this. Very openly and transparently, CSUN is sometimes a little hard to work with. But it's good to be there because there's a large group of people that are always there. Microsoft will be there, and Apple and Amazon and a lot of these big companies. And truthfully, we always get some deals done at CSUN or conversations that lead to deals. So it's a business development tool for us, but it's also an opportunity just to see what everybody's proud of. Most people unveil something at CSUN, some new offering, some new service, some new angle on it. And so it's fun to see what people think that they have up their sleeves, that they unveil, that they're proud of. And that's the part I like the most.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? Because a lot of companies will go there with the intention of revealing their product or their service. But it's a bit different for you because you are going along. You're also interested in those releases because you're thinking about ways that you can develop your service, possibly using their product. So it's a great opportunity for you to get a sense of what is going on in the assistive technology space, but at the same time, build those partnerships, build those relationships that makes the whole experience better. And of course, the most notable one of 2024 was Meta and the relationship between yourselves and Meta bringing Be My Eyes to the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, which was huge, of course. Now, we're not expecting anything necessarily that large scale at CSUN, or do we? I don't know, right? You tell us. You're always up to something, Mike.
I mean, I think that one will probably be a little bit hard to top, in fairness. But Stephen, you're right? I mean, like, a whole key part of our business strategy, but also I think outside of just Be My Eyes, I think a very important part of the accessibility landscape holistically is the ability for companies to partner with each other. And those partnerships, particularly between smaller enterprises and larger, are the ones that I think are really interesting, right? Well, so whether it's our partnership with OpenAI or Microsoft or Meta, Hilton, whatever it is, it's, as smaller companies, we can sometimes push and excite these larger companies in directions. And of course, they also have, giant budgets and giant technology and cloud computing and all these things. So it's a fun place to go to try to figure out, roadmaps together.
And how are you finding those, the ability or the reception that you get when you're trying to form these relationships? Obviously, you've grown a lot already, and you've already forged some of those relationships with the big names out there. But are you still finding some sort of, pushback even when it comes to trying to explain to companies and possible partners, the advantages of what Be My Eyes is and does? Yes.
I mean, if you think about it this way, even the most well-intentioned companies in the world, this is not number 1, 2, or 7 on their priority list, right? And is that because they're bad? No, it's because they have shareholders, and it's because they have roadmaps and hundreds of things to do and hundreds of things to accomplish. And so there's always some structural barrier to us getting anything done, or any accessibility company getting traction, right, with a number of these large enterprises, because I don't think it's in most shareholder reports, right? But it is a way to try to bring it more to the forefront and try to escalate conversations and elevate them. And by the way, it also means that the onus is on us and all these other companies to make a demonstrable case for return on investment, right? Like you and I can sit here till we're blue in the face and talk about access as a human right. Do you believe it? Do I believe it? Yes. But is that always the most persuasive path with a company? No. Right? We've got to speak dollars and cents. We've got to speak return on investment. We've got to speak value to their customers as well. And so that's what, we try to underscore. And guys, we've talked 50 times, 100 times about Be My Eyes and what we do. I am still, every day I find someone who I think must know what we do that has no clue, right? So and this happened to me in a supermarket yesterday, right? I was in a Target, and a woman saw I was wearing my Be My Eyes sweater that has a little logo on it. And she says, Be My Eyes, what is that? And I told her what it is. And she told me how her husband's sight had been degrading over the last 5 years, where he's nearly totally blind, and she had no idea who we are. And so we've got to educate everybody and spread the word as much as we can, just the same as I think all of these accessibility companies do.
I mean, I suppose one of the solutions to that is marketing, right? You could put adverts, you could buy a Super Bowl ad, for example, or something like that, something that gets the attention of the world, essentially.
Are you going to float me $7 or $8 million for that one?
Well, that's the problem, right? There's a huge cost to that. Sean might be able to help you. If we sell that shed, we can get $20, I think. That might help a little bit. But I'm telling you, that Be My Pants, that will do it for you. I guarantee you.
There you go.
There you go. There's your money. The Super Bowl ad funded by Be My Pants. But honestly, it is so difficult, isn't it, to get the word out there. We've spoken to, I always remember a conversation we had with Christopher Patnell.
Chris.
From Google, yeah. And he also had the same frustrations. And I'm thinking, hang on, you're Google. You're the people that we search for things using. And you can't get the word out there. You're struggling to get the word out there. It's a forever issue, isn't it? This is the challenge. Now, CSUN doesn't really solve that for you, or does it? Because, I mean, I guess in a sense we're all preaching the same, to the same choir here.
It's incremental help, but it doesn't solve it, right? And it's so funny you talked about Christopher, because I'll actually see him at this Zero Project conference in Vienna, which starts tomorrow. But think about one series of Google Pixel ads is probably more money than Google spent on accessibility advertising, in the last several years.
Yeah,
So
right.
it is hard. And so that a constant education and drumbeat is absolutely paramount.
So are you going to let us know what relationships you're looking for and with whom? Have you got anything in mind?
I mean, look, I have been talking to Amazon about our customer service product for 18 months. Like very, very, very honestly. And, Peter Korn and the team there, they do a lot of fantastic stuff. I think, they and many companies are super heads down right now on the European Accessibility Act, right? Coming to the fore. But I'm going to say I have cautious optimism about Amazon. We're talking to some other hotel brands. And I still have hope that we'll do something with Apple. I think Apple does a wonderful job holistically on accessibility, but it's very funny every time we poll our users about, we literally sent out a community questionnaire that said, which company do you most want to see be available through Be My Eyes, through the Service Connect product? And Apple every year is number one, even though I think that their customer service mechanisms are actually quite strong.
And they are. I mean, I use the Apple Support app, for example, a lot of the time when something goes wrong. And I think it's a wonderful app. I love the fact that it links in with messages, so it's nice and accessible, and I'm getting direct support. And they can get into my computer, they can have a look around, they can go onto my phone and look at things. I love the way they've designed it, and I think they've done lots of great work. But again, Apple Support app is a bit like Be My Eyes, and as everyone I talk to about it says, does that exist? A little bit different with Be My Eyes, in fairness, because everyone I talk to does know it exists. But, I get you. I do take the point. There's a lot of people that still don't.
I think it is slightly different, though. There's something, I mean, as Be My Eyes users on our end, as an end user, there's something just so familiar with it. And I think being able to access any company's customer support, even if their existing framework is good, as Apple's is, I still think I would rather use Be My Eyes to talk to them. I had an issue recently with a Samsung tumble dryer. I know, boring, but I had an issue with it. And, they were asking me things like, well, what's the model number? I have no idea. Well, it's printed on the inside of the door. It's those sort of situations where just having that live video call is invaluable. And I think this is where Be My Eyes just has it so well covered.
There is a familiarity there, right, Sean? Right. And a simplicity and a certain elegance. And, not having to go, to multiple places. We talk about this a bunch at Be My Eyes, and we've talked about it with you before. It's just that part of the problem and the frustration I have with, the number of companies that provide all sorts of interesting tools and technology for this community is, the second you force the user, the blind or low vision consumer, to go to 4 or 5 different places for different things, there's a layer of frustration there, right? And so, look, maybe this will all be solved in a matter of time when we all have our personal AI agent.
That's the hope, right?
Which is plausible, but it is a pain point and a frustration that we think about a lot.
Yeah, it's funny, right? I'm already sensing, just from our moods in the past couple of weeks, and from what you're saying, that this is like 2025 is the year of serious for accessibility, if that makes sense. I feel we've got very excited about the technology that's coming, the technology that's already here. We get very excited about it, then we sort of hit against these silly brick walls all the time. You get, for example, I was chatting last week about Microsoft bringing the Copilot app to the Mac, and the accessibility challenges on it. And you think, this is ridiculous. Why have we got the latest, greatest technology right here, and yet I'm still struggling to access it in a really accessible, simple way? And actually, when you think about what Copilot itself is as an app, it's a chat box. That's all it is. And why is that really difficult to do? I can go to websites that are far simpler to use. So there are still these silly brick walls. Now, you mentioned the European Accessibility Act. Now, we're going to be talking more about that while we're at CSUN, because a lot of people are talking on this topic, as well as happening, as you mentioned, at the Zero Project Conference. But I'm intrigued to know if that perhaps is a bit of an opportunity because there will be this legislation coming in. It is going to impact the world. It's not just going to impact Europe, in the same way that if we even think about the basic impact of USB-C requirements in Europe that forced Apple to change its ways with its connectors, accessibility is going to be the same thing, right? It's going to have to be implemented in order for the services to be used in Europe. So there's a bit of a gold rush opportunity here, isn't there?
I think there is. And look, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We just hired 2 additional salespeople in Europe. We've just closed 2 deals that we'll announce, I think, tomorrow at CSUN on Tuesday with a couple of European entities. And so for sure, there is incredible opportunity there. But again, you still have to, speak the language a bit. If you speak that you're solving a regulatory hurdle or you're solving a business challenge, right?
Yeah.
Is the way to get these deals done, I think. And I'm not saying we're perfect at it, because we can always get better, but that's how we're looking at the market every day.
Well, one thing you've always impressed us with looking forward, Michael, it's, like Stephen mentioned about the, Chat GPT with Be My AI and the Meta Ray-Bans. You're always looking forward to the next thing. So where are we at currently with Be My Eyes? What can you tell us of anything that's coming up next? And can you tell us anything at all?
Look, we're experimenting. I'm trying to think of how mad I want to make our CMO. But
well,
Andy,
to be fair, we are going to be talking a lot during the week, right? So we will be picking up on news as it comes out.
And look, this is not even what we're going to launch at CSUN, but we all almost certainly will interact with our computers via our voices, right? And so I think you can expect that Be My Eyes, we want it so that if someone opens the app in sub-Saharan Africa or Russia or rural India or Cleveland, that they can talk to it and figure out how it works, just like having a normal conversation, right? That's the future of computing. And I think, it's something that we're working on a lot right now. Live video interpretation, right? We all know it's sort of available now. It's not awesome. There are some issues with it, but we're still playing around with that. You should expect something from us on that front. Agents, right? We're literally, can you have kind of your assistant, I don't know, do shopping for you, write a document, whatever the thing is. I think agents is something. It's I think this is going to be a wild year, but I've been saying that for the last 2 or 3 years. And every time I feel like I have a handle on what's going on, it's like there's some other explosion. I feel like we're all building on quicksand right now. And maybe quicksand's not the best analogy because there is a floor, I guess, but it's shifting on a daily basis, right? Yeah. Every day.
Well, listen, I mentioned that news is coming and we will be covering it, of course, as it comes out from CSUN through the course of the week. But I also want to take a moment while I have you just to say a huge thank you to Be My Eyes as well, supporting Double Tap to get out there. Not with pants, but with actual, ability to get to CSUN in one piece. We'll take care of the pants, it's fine. But I will say, a huge thank you to Be My Eyes and to you especially. You've become a great friend to us here at the show, but also personally. And it means a lot because it allows us to get out there and to cover this event, which I think is really important. I mean, we're in 40th year this year. It's a great place to get to know. And we kind of feel that we're kind of following the path you're trailblazing at the minute, which is to get out there, meet lots of interesting people, share the story of accessibility around the world, not just in one place, in one part of the world, but around the world. Tell the story, because there are people listening to this show all around the world who may never get themselves to California. We can now do that, and it is, and of course, part of thanks to you guys. So I just want to say a huge thank you to you and the team.
I'm excited you guys are going. I mean, every day, guys, I hope I approach the job I have with humility, right? And part of that is that realizing there's just a ton of stuff I don't know, right? Or that I learn all the time. And one of the things about Double Tap is every time I tune in, I feel like I learned something, right? And if you think about that awareness challenge that we just talked about, right? If we could get, a million people who are blind and low vision listening to this show, it would absolutely enrich their lives, right? And so, look, we're really happy to sponsor you guys going out. I thank you for saying thank you, but I also thank you for the work that you do. And I just hope that the distribution grows, because you know our mission, guys. Our mission is more accessibility for this community, and part of what you do enables that. So, like, more power to you.
Appreciate it, Mike. And we look forward to seeing you. Stick the kettle on. We'll be there in a few hours.
Sounds good. Fly safe. Don't get in any trouble, guys.
Oh,
Thanks,
no
Mike.
guarantees. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you to Mike Buckley there for joining us. And yes, indeed, we are very excited about the trip to CSUN. But many people might wonder what CSUN actually is. Well, earlier I caught up with Julia at Santiago. She is the managing director for the Center for Disabilities at CSUN. And I asked her to tell us a bit more about the conference that we are so used to calling CSUN, but is in fact the CSUN Assistive Technology Conference.
You're correct. We are the CSUN Assistive Technology Conference, but most people just know us as CSUN. But I don't think many people even know what CSUN really is, or what it means. It's actually an acronym, and it stands for the California State University at Northridge. And Northridge is a small location in the city of Los Angeles. So we're in Southern California, and we are a university. And we are a small part of the university that hosts the annual conference. This year, we are celebrating our 40th, so this has been around for quite some time. And the CSUN Assistive Technology Conference really was born out of the need from the department here at the university that was serving students with disabilities. And this was back in 1985, when there just seemed to be a big disconnect between the services, providing services to students, and the different computer technologies that were available at the time. You know, think back to 1985, not much was available then. And so the idea was to bring different leaders in this industry, this sort of budding industry, to come together and try to find solutions and try to push sort of this industry forward, with the ultimate goal was to serve students with disabilities. But now 40 years later, it's really just become this amazing forum where so many people across a very broad and diverse industry, representing all disabilities and all types of technologies, coming together. And really, it's just what we're providing, I should say, is a forum. We're not dictating what the conference is to be about. That's what the community does. And so this is the annual time where the community comes together, and across the globe. I mean, while we're here in Southern California, and the conference takes place in Orange County, in Anaheim, California, we attract people from all over the world, and all over the U.S. And we're talking industries from government to education to rehab, to the banking industries and the different tech companies. And so it's a pretty broad spectrum of industry, as well as diversity in terms of the types of disabilities that are represented. And so it's a great opportunity where some, in their own work that they do, will never interact with someone else in a different industry, but still doing the similar work. And so this is what's the conference has become known for, is this opportunity to really bring together a large swath of individuals, where they never really get an opportunity to come together like this.
I mean, I suppose my mind, it's always a great opportunity, even at the base level, and it's not the base level. I mean, it's a really important part of it, for blind people to come together to learn about the latest technology. You cannot go into a Best Buy and find the latest Braille display or a new piece of tactile technology or whatever it might be. You can't do it. You just can't go there and see that kind of stuff. So CSUN is really vital for that. And that's one aspect of this. And, it's been funny watching it from afar. I hear such great conversations that happen there, great networking goes on, great business goes on there, because it's not just about business talking to customers, it's about business talking to other business, getting investment opportunities, coming together, partnerships, all that stuff. So it's much more than just a tech exhibition. Of course, that's going to be our focus because that's what we do, and we're wanting to see the gadgets, right? But but it's really vital that those conversations take place, and that has changed massively over the last 40 years. I mean, those early days would have been so focused on specialist technology. Now, of course, you have Amazon, you have Microsoft, you have all the big players turning up at this event.
Yeah, and I think it's important to talk about we do have the exhibit hall, but we also have a conference, and so there's something for everyone. In the exhibit hall is where folks come, and it's open to the public to attend, and that's where it's that exhibition, seeing all the different types of products and services ranging from the large companies, like you said, the Amazons and the Googles and the Microsofts, but down to some small organizations or federal agencies or startup companies. They are representing all of their new technologies, ideas, and just different types of services within the same sort of space. But on the conference side, this is where all the learning and those conversations and those ideas are really kind of put out there and sparking what will hopefully then you'll see in the future in the exhibit hall. So this is, it's kind of, in a lot of ways, a kind of a full circle. We have the ideas coming out of the conference and those coming to life, seen on display in the exhibit hall. It's kind of a nice sort of synergy amongst everything, available at the conference. And so, yes, users come and be able to try and really learn about what's coming down the pipeline for a lot of these companies. So it is a really great opportunity. And really kind of almost the only opportunity for a lot of users, especially to engage with some of these products.
Yeah, I mean, looking forward, as I'm sure you'll want to do, I mean, it's such a great time to talk about this. I mean, I know that politically in the world at the minute, we all may be feeling a little bit jaded about what's going on in the world, and there's lots of things to be concerned about. But actually, when it comes to accessibility, I think there's a great story and a great positive story to tell, because there's an opportunity here for businesses outside of the specialist technology sphere to make a lot of money out of disabled people who want to buy products, buy services, and accessibility gives that possibility. It gives it a reality, makes it a reality, and I think that's really important, isn't it?
It's really important, and you're right. There's a lot of things going on out of our control in this world. But what I can say is that we are still forging ahead. Nothing has changed with what our goals and our mission is. And it's really to provide this opportunity in this forum so we can continue to push this industry forward. At our core, inclusion is so important. And these barriers that exist out in society, preventing individuals from participating in society to the fullest, it is a financial positivity for companies to really consider, because if you have barriers out there, you're excluding a significant portion of your consumers, and that's something that not many people kind of use as their driving force, but should, because there is a huge consumer base that you're opening up and should be inviting into your world. So, absolutely, that's what we ultimately are here to provide, this opportunity to come together and, like I said, just push this industry forward and hopefully the world forward.
And I do have to ask, because I mean, AI is a big deal, right? Everyone's talking about AI. AI feels like it's just embedded into everything now. And of course, there's going to be so many great conversations around how it embeds into accessibility at the CSUN conference. But there's another AI, or at least the letters AI, that I'm intrigued in, and that is if I add the letter C in the front and switch the other two around, CIA. Am I right in saying the CIA used to turn up at CSUN? And am I hearing that correctly?
We do have different federal, U.S. federal agencies present at the conference. The CIA has been one. I don't believe they are attending this year.
They're probably quite busy this year.
I'm sorry?
They may be busy this year with other things going on.
I was just going to say, there's some in the federal government that are unfortunately have other priorities currently.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we still do have and have historically had a large contingency of federal government agencies, including the CIA.
And that was to allow for job opportunities, right? It was to give people the opportunity to work in and get into that kind of career.
That was one of their, certainly one of their initiatives. With that said, this year we actually we're going to be having a job fair. So because a lot, not just the CIA, but other companies have been interested in looking at employing, and we've had a lot of our participants interested in employment opportunities. And so this is something we've been trying to do for a few years, and we're actually going to have this for the first time this year. So
we can't wait to cover it. We can't wait to tell the story of the CSUN Assistive Tech Conference here on Double Tap. Thank you for making us feel so welcome. We cannot wait to get there and share the story with the world. Julia Santiago, thank you so much for joining us on Double Tap.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you later this week.
Julia Santiago there from the Center on Disabilities at CSUN, learning more about what CSUN is all about and what is coming up. Now, as I mentioned to you earlier, Sean, we are not going there ourselves. We're going with some good friends, some great partners as well. One such partner is Glidance, and Amos Miller is the founder of Glidance, of course, the creator of the amazing Glide product that we've been talking so much about on the show. Amos, back with us here on Double Tap. Great to have you back with us, Amos.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's good to be here, Amos. And great to talk about Glidance and what's going on. Of course, we're going to be so excited. And so many people I know are going to be so excited to finally get hands-on. For a lot of people, it'll be their first time getting hands-on with Glidance. Some people might be coming back for a second shot just to remind themselves of what that experience was like first time around. Because it's not your first rodeo, is it? You've been at CSUN before.
Well, personally, I've been to CSUN many times. Glide has been to CSUN once before, this time last year.
And what's it like for you? What's it like getting there for you? Because from what I understand, the experience is
I've always been at CSUN for a number of years. I've been there as part of Microsoft with Soundscape, and we always had a big team there, and a presentation and a booth and demos going on. And now with Glidance, so we're part of the show to a large extent, but. After a couple of times that you go there, it's such an incredible community, and for me, it's the Super Bowl of assistive technology. Really, like you see what's the latest thinking that people are having, not only just what they're showing, but what we can do and which directions things are going. You see what's been and gone, which is always interesting, right?
Taking notes. Wasn't there a booth here last year that did a thing with a thing in it? Where's that gone? Okay.
Yeah. What's been and gone, but what we've learned from it as well. I think that's the important thing. I love always sounds maybe talk about my age a little bit here, but the next generation showing up, like, young entrepreneurs or technologists or advocates, people who are really taking on the mantle, right, and building up the next. So for me, CSUN is just a great place to connect all of those dots.
Well, you've been traveling the world, haven't you? I mean, you don't seem to stop, Amos, with all the interesting Glide. I mean, are you expecting, are those lines getting any shorter with everyone wanting to go hands-on with the Glide?
It has been incredible, Sean. We through the autumn we held, I don't know how many demo days. But when we try to count, we estimate between 1,200 and 1,400 people have already had a chance to take a swing, go for a walk, get a feel, share the feedback and comments of our demos. And I think what we've been able to really walk away from that is quite a lot of validation that at least the idea works for people, and that we are on the right track with the direction that we're taking the product in, which is for me is absolutely critical at every stage to validate. And so now, what everybody is looking for, and as am I, is let's bring the product to life, right?
Yeah. Well, this is the year, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the year, and one of the things that we, for example, in the previous, I guess there's two areas where we've made a ton of progress. One is the area that's sort of under the surface, right? It's the mechanical, the physical, the structural aspects of the device. One of the things that we've learned, probably should have known from the beginning, but we've learned and that did a lot of work on, is the strength of the device. This thing is going to get beating. Like any other mobility aid, right? It's going to fall. It's going to have people step on it. It's going to get stuck under things. Like,
it's going to have Sean use it, and
it's going to have Sean use it.
Yeah,
yes.
We've had demos where people tore off the handle, not because they're pissed off with the device or anything. It's just that the way that they were trying to get their head around how to follow the device. They were a little bit overzealous, and and that's the nature of it, right? So a lot of work under the hood to really strengthen the device, strengthen the electronics, reliability and everything. So that's not something that people will see, but I think they will feel once you start walking with it. This is a solid device. And of course, the other layer is the magic, the behavior, right? The navigation, the interaction, the walking along and really feeling the smooth walk and being able to guide the Glide where you want it to go and ask it to take you places and so on. And that's really the software, the machine learning, the data, all the exciting stuff, which we're really, really going into deep now. I think when you guys tried it in, when was it, November or so?
Yeah.
We called it zigzag and crunchy, somewhere between those two terms, because it was crunching quite a lot and was zigzagging quite a lot. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that people will already see a lot of progress at CSUN is a much smoother path. Yeah, where Glide is actually planning it. I call it a purposeful path. Yeah, Glide's actually guiding you on the path, not just reacting to its environments. And I think you'll enjoy that experience. And there's a bunch of stuff that we've really put a lot of effort into, and that's really the foundation for the coming months as we really start to tune that experience.
So, are you still on course? If you're following your roadmap, is there any delays you can envision, or is there any problems you've had to overcome?
I would say we're definitely on course. With all plans, we've built a lot of buffers in, so we're definitely on course. What we're really going to focus on in the coming months is what we call milestones. Milestones where we can actually, I often describe it a little bit like the SpaceX rockets going up, right? Mm-hmm. Where the first one sort of blows up on the launch pad. The second one goes up about 10 meters and blows up. The third one already gets into the sky and separates, but then both pieces blow up. And over time, you get to orbit, right?
Hang on, this is starting to sound like a Stephen Scott analogy, which most people try to avoid.
Everything just blows up.
Yeah, the first one blew up, the second one kind of blew up, and everyone survived the third time. Hooray!
Exactly.
So it's basically that without the explosions.
With less explosions, but what this means is like, for example, and on a serious note, is I have now started to use Glide as my primary mobility aid.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
which is I can't use it for everything right now. Yeah, because of limited features still, and still the reliability and so on. But I'm now putting it to its paces, and my goal is to communicate progress on that to the point. Our goal, if you like, for launch, the bar that we're working to, is that you can leave your primary mobility aid behind. Okay, that you can do your existing routes with Glide as your primary aid. Because once we have that foundation in place, we're off to the races, right? We can build everything else on top of that. Yeah, and so that's really what we will show the community over the coming months, the progress towards that. We'll get more and more people involved in that process. And really that will dictate when it's ready, right? And our estimates right now show that we are still on track. But everybody will see where we are, and we will, if we need to adjust anything, we will definitely have that communicated. And then everybody will see why as well. So.
Very nice.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, look, I think what I've seen online, and I follow social media and see what people are saying about all of this, not just Glidance, but any product, quite frankly. But there is a little bit of hesitancy and skepticism among some. I think those people probably haven't had hands on yet. But even if they have, I think often it comes from the fact that you did decide and you made a conscious decision to go out early into the community and talk about this and talk about it openly. Whereas a lot of companies might have decided to do this behind closed doors, have a set amount of people who they just relied on for information. I think what you're doing is actually much smarter, and I think is something that needs to be promoted, because, not only are you getting the views of many blind people, but lots and lots of blind people. So, that feedback is something that you're clearly listening to. You're using that experience. Like you said, the guy with the handle who, ripped it off by accident, these are things you need to know, right? You don't want to be finding this out once the product is out there. And a lot of companies know that. A lot of companies spend, huge amounts of money on R&D to make sure that doesn't happen. But mistakes do happen. It's different in our community, isn't it? Because, the needs are very specific, and you can't always get that through R&D, can you? It's different.
It's also one of the things that I think I found really useful is when the engineers are out there looking and seeing it's more effective when Kyle sees the handle being ripped off, because he can see what happened. He can see what led to it. He can see and he takes it. He takes it almost personally, right? Now I have to really figure out it's different to having some, if maybe a business development person in the conference that are doing demos and conveying stuff back to your engineers once they've already moved on to their next thing, right? Like just involving everybody on the team and in seeing it. And you talked about travel, Sean. So I just came back from 2 weeks a week in Italy, where we were able to connect with some famous opera singer, which we'll talk about in the coming months, and also quite a number. Like, it was amazing to sort of engage with the blindness community in a completely different culture, different background. And then I spent 2 weeks in Lyon, where we did some engineering work. And I really, for the first time, was able to it took a lot of work, but by the end of the 2 weeks, I was able to walk with Glide on a full sidewalk with cars on one side, the building line on the other, lampposts, people walking by, and I could feel the magic through my handle. It was no longer a demo. It was really doing it. And
must have been a big moment for you.
Oh my God, Sean! It was doing it elegantly. It wasn't like jumping and overreacting and so on. It was like you could hear the little cracking in the wheels, making those tiny corrections as things happen in front of it. And I must have walked for 2.5 minutes along this sidewalk, walking past shops, and it did turn into a pub for some reason. Not sure exactly why.
That's reasonable. That was fine.
But
you must have had the Scottish feature set.
That's right. Yes, Scotsman.
But that's the moments. Those are the moments that I feel so excited to experience, to work with the engineers to get to, and now to start getting everybody experiencing them as we progress. So, and I'm really excited about CSUN, especially for people. You'll see it's not perfect yet. We'll probably ask you to walk a little slower than you normally do. I mean, it's still in development, but I think you'll start to feel that through the handle.
Yeah, and look, that's the deal, right? I think that's the deal at this point. And if you want a company to be open and honest with you and upfront with you about the development of a product, from its inception essentially up to the point of release, then you're going to have to expect that. And that's what it's all about. We've kind of all come on this journey with you, and I think that's how the people who've tried Glide, and you've got to talk about the stories, because you've told us some stories off air, and I want you to share a couple of them. Just the way that gliders, as we now call them, react to using it. Some even, I remember you telling me a story of a little girl who pretty much wouldn't let go of it and gave it a name.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was about 6 months ago, and we had two stories like that, actually. There was one in one of the conferences where a little girl came with her mum and had a little, Kyle, and walked her through the demo, and she just, by the end of the experience, she was just wrapping her hands around Glide and said, yeah, I mean, you didn't need any more words than that. And we had a really interesting one when we were in England in November, and we actually did a demo at Paddington Station to folks from ONCE, from the Spanish blindness organization. They came over and we did a demo with them on the train platforms. Can you believe it? We're walking upstream of people coming off the train.
Don't make it easy for yourself, will you?
No. But then a family came along with a little blind girl, and they stopped to look and walked over, and the girl just was so excited to see what was going on there, and she just we made an in the moment demo with her. She held the device and she had a little walk around, and her parents just burst into tears. Like those are the moments that I think once we start having glides out in the wild, it'll be really interesting to see how the world reacts to it, and those are the kind of moments that happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason I think this happens, because I keep thinking back to stories I've heard about people learning the white cane or learning to use a guide dog, and I've heard similar stories with guide dogs.
Yeah.
Not so much with the white cane. Probably parents emotional that a child can use it, but I think the difference here is that because the parent who's sighted can see the child who's blind able to negotiate their way around things independently, I think gives the parent a bit more comfort as well. So that's possibly where the emotion comes. It's the capability that it brings. Whereas I think when a parent sees a kid with a cane, what they see is a kid who's sort of constantly banging into things to find things, to get around them. It's different. It's a different feel to it. And as the parent might be concerned, they may be thinking, okay, so this child's going to be struggling to find their way around. That's not the case at all, but that's maybe how it's perceived. So it's a perception thing, isn't it?
I think, yeah, the perception. Like, I think we all know that the cane is not at all about banging into things and searching in the dark. Although for an uninitiated person, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't use it, I think.
Right. I mean, I remember a long time ago when I was pretty young and we were walking down in London somewhere and my parents said, oh, this poor guy, you know, he's just caught up over there with his cane. And I said, no, I mean, that's how you navigate with a cane. You tap on things so that you know where you are and where they are. It's totally normal, but it doesn't look that way. And but it's a perception thing. And again, I would, as we all know, the cane is the most accessible tool today, and that is it absolutely has it and will forever continue to have its very dominant place in our mobility kit.
Can I just say that if for anyone that does see me out there, it's the opposite case for me. If you do think I am tangled and stuck with my cane, I am tangled and stuck in a hedge. So please come and assist me. Thank you.
Yeah. Honestly, actually, I don't know how you even survive a day in life, to be honest.
Can you settle an argument for us, Amos? We had a listener ask us about the correct way to hold the Glide. Whether it should be on the right-hand side, the left-hand side, or as I say, it was in front of you. Who's right?
You're wrong.
So you hold it either in the left or in your right hand, and as a consequence, it'll be a bit on towards your left, or like more in front of your left leg or your left.
Thank you.
Right leg,
Thank you, Amos.
Which hand you're holding it in, right?
Yeah, no, he didn't say left or right. He just said either. So I think we're all right.
It can be either. I would say that we found that when people start using it, if they center the device, they get they get a better initial experience, as in it's easier for them to follow it, and once they get the hang of it, they let their hands sort of hang more towards one side.
I see.
Okay. But when we start people off, we often ask them to start by putting it in front of them and following where it's going. Because what sometimes happens is if we even have a term for it, we call it crabbing. If you start with the device on your side and the device, let's say you're holding it in your right hand and the device goes a bit to your right and you're not really following it, so now the device is kind of going sideways on your right and it can't get in front of you because you're not following it. It's kind of hanging off to your right, and you need to get behind it. So so these are the kind of things that we've learned and really are putting into our also onboarding process. But ultimately, you'll end up holding it in front of your left or your right leg.
Amos, I just want to say as well, a huge thank you to you, because you and the team at Glidance have been so supportive of us here at Double Tap, and to the extent that you're helping us get out there and supporting us on this trip. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you for that, because it means a lot. We've been wanting to do CSUN for so long. The fact is that now we can do this, and in its 40th year, I think is incredible. So a huge thank you to you for supporting us. But I think also just supporting us in the community as well, because, you've been on here, you've been sharing the story, but you've been answering listener questions and been totally upfront about where things are. I think it's just a wonderful thing. We can't wait till, later this year when we get our hands on this and we get out on the road and we test it and actually use it ourselves.
Yeah, no, Stephen, I think you guys have been great partners as well, and challenged me from the beginning on this journey. And I like I said all along, I don't think there's any other way to do it. And you've been honest challengers, not shying away from what needs to be asked and pushing us on the things that need to be tested. And also when we are at CSUN, again, we want to continue on the same vein and have you talk about what you see, not what we're telling you, right?
Yeah.
Talk about what you see. Tell us what's going well, what's not going well. Let's hear what people say, and we'll continue in that vein.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, can't wait to see you. We'll be there soon, I promise. We're leaving for the airport straight after this. So
Yes.
we will be coming to see you. I hope you take it easy because you've been traveling a lot. We will get together. We will all have nice drinks, and we will all probably fall asleep in 10 minutes. But it'll be wonderful. Amos, thanks so much.
Yeah, we do have, I think, one evening an event that we'd like people to come and join us. I think
Yes,
it's
we
on
do.
Wednesday evening.
Wednesday evening, we're doing a bit of a get together, and Double Tap and Glidance will be joining up. So check out the socials, as they say, as the kids.
Oh.
Do the kids still say that? I don't even know if they do.
So trendy.
I know, I'm so trendy. Check. I'll be all over Instagram. Yeah, no, I won't. Amos, thanks so much for coming on it. Take care,
Yeah, thank you.
and see you there.
Thanks,
See you
Amos.
soon. Bye-bye.
And that's it, Sean. We are getting our bags packed, ready to go. I will see you in person in California, which is where we'll talk to you guys next time here on Double Tap.